Hello friends, it's me, and today, how to kill honey badger. Let's check out film theory, how to kill Wolverine from the film theories. Together, let's go. Let's go.
Credit where credit's due. Wolverine doesn't let anything keep him down. He's been shot, stabbed, thrown around by Magneto, blasted with a nuke. In the comics, he's been torn in two by the Hulk and steamrolled by the Punisher. He's been fed grenades, hit with every disease known to man, and yet he keeps clawing his way back for more. But everyone's missed one simple way to kill him, and today, we're gonna change the way you see this Canuck forever.
I can't do this. What the f am I even doing?
Two.
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory, the show that's the best at what it does, and what it does isn't very nice. Well,
Hello Internet, welcome to Film Theory.
if you think edutainment is mean. So, it's no secret that the MCU is in a bit of a sorry state between box office bombs and underwhelming Disney Plus shows. But Deadpool and Wolverine saw that and thought,
The whole world's going to hell, you just going to sit there?
finally, Deadpool and Wolverine are headed back to theaters in just a few short days, putting these two oddballs together for the first time.
My God, you ever shut up?
No, not when I'm awake.
Okay, yeah, well, I try my best to forget that X-Men Origins Wolverine even exists. But with this new Deadpool and Wolverine movie reteaming everyone's favorite merc with a mouth and Knucklehead, I wanted to revisit the series. After all, one of our most popular theories ever was actually a strategy guide on how to kill Deadpool, so I figure, why not give old Logan here the same sort of treatment? This is a character who is famous for basically being unkillable, healing from pretty much any wound you can throw at him, so obviously I took that as a certified theorist challenge. See, in that old How to Kill Deadpool video, my friend and evil mentor Matt Pat suggested that to kill Deadpool, and by extension
Your friend and evil mentor, Matt Pat.
Wolverine, you just need to destroy the parts of the brain that hold on to long-term memory. This would erase any neural patterns that make up their memories, and no matter how good their healing factor is, as William Stryker explains,
His brain may heal, his memories won't grow back.
and he's right, the plan works in this very movie, and it's kind of ironic that like one of the worst X-Men movies has some of the most accurate science. Sure, if we erase Logan's memories in this way, he loses everything that makes him him. But in a multiverse with telepaths and magic sorcerers and genius billionaire playboy philanthropists, there's surely a way
Who's that? That's Dr. Doom!
for Wolverine to get his memories back. So I wanted a more permanent solution here. I want to know, can you actually kill Wolverine? If we look at the science of how our bodies work, can we find a way that can shut down his healing factor and actually send Wolverine to an early grave? Or will it take nothing short of the Infinity Gauntlet to take him out? Well, after doing some digging, Wolverine has one major weakness that I'm shocked that no one has ever really exploited.
What is inevitable?
I know, they're not ready, Storm.
Here's a hint for you. Logan's going to be in a bit over his head. Snicked your claws, loyal theorists, as we hatch the perfect plot to kill Wolverine.
Ready to die!
Yeah, he sure is. So if we want to kill Wolverine, what are the main problems we're going to be facing here? What sorts of powers does he have that might make Operation Wolver Cleanup on Aisle 5 a bit tough? Well, outside of the claws that would be really good at killing you in a fight, the two main issues we're going to have here are Wolverine's skeleton and his healing factor. Let's tackle the skeleton first, shall we? Yeah, this is probably one of Logan's most iconic powers. After being experimented on by Weapon X, his entire skeleton is coated in a fictitious unbreakable metal alloy called adamantium. Normally, this would mean that no weapon would be able to cut through Wolverine's whole body. It's unbreakable after all.
But if I'm not wrong, it's not adamantium, it's proto-adamantium.
Only thing that we've ever been shown to cut through adamantium is more adamantium, especially if it's been superheated. We actually see this exact thing happen in the Wolverine with Silver Samurai. Also, can I just say that it really bothers me that the next time Wolverine shows up in Days of Future Past, he has the metal claws again? Like, sure, the bone claws would grow back, probably, but like, the metal? Where's the metal coming from? But regardless, if we look elsewhere in the movies, we actually find proof that Wolverine's adamantium skeleton isn't as strong as you might think it is. In Logan, we learn that Wolverine is slowly dying because his healing factor has stopped working, and the adamantium on his skeleton is poisoning his body. As a doctor in the film explains,
Something inside you is poisoning you. you, you got to check yourself into a hospital.
Obviously, this is bad news for Logan, since adamantium poisoning would be killing him in the same way that lead poisoning does. The way that works is that lead particles, flakes, or powder get into your bloodstream and is then super eager to replace the calcium in your body's natural processes, getting deposited in your brain and bones. This then causes mental decline, weakened bones, and anemia. But here's the thing, if the adamantium inside of Wolverine's body is unbreakable as it's claimed, it can't be poisoning him. That can't be a thing. The whole point of adamantium is that it's indestructible. It's simply too strong and would be too stable to erode, flake, or break off particles that would travel through Logan's bloodstream to poison him. More or less, it should be biocompatible. That means that it's chemically inert and can coexist in your body. It's invisible to your immune system, like a hip or a joint replacement, so your body won't reject it. So, if Wolverine is dying from adamantium poisoning in Logan, and adamantium is unbreakable, it means that this can't be pure adamantium. His skeleton has to be covered in something else, like some weaker adamantium alloy maybe. Thankfully, there is an answer to this in the comics itself. Beta adamantium. Wonder if we're ever gonna be getting sigma adamantium. Regardless, this—
Oh, I was wrong. I'm sorry. I'm very sorry. I thought it was proto adamantium. It's more towards adamantium beta. Sorry.
stuff is like adamantium's slightly weaker cousin and was made by a literal fusing of bone with pure adamantium metal. So more or less it's an alloy of adamantium, protein, and calcium. This means that it would likely be weaker than actual adamantium and explain how and why it's breaking down enough to poison the rest of his body. And ironically, this would actually be beneficial for Wolverine in the long run. Tell me, have you ever wondered how Wolverine actually makes blood? Bones aren't just there for skeletal support, they're where your body makes the blood it needs to spread oxygen and nutrients throughout it. So if your bones were completely coated in an unbreakable metal, the blood being made in your bones couldn't actually get to the rest of your body. And we know that Wolverine doesn't like suck up the blood he loses. When he regenerates from a head wound in X-Men 2, we see a small blood trail that stays outside of the skin when the wound closes. But if this unbreakable metal wasn't so unbreakable and could wear down, well, then the blood could feasibly get through and into the rest of the body. So is that the answer? Just wait a really long time like we see in Logan and let the adamantium poisoning take him down? Wrong! See, as we explained in a short that just went up, the reason that Wolverine was really losing his healing factor in Logan wasn't because he was getting too old or that the adamantium was wearing it down. It was because he was drinking whiskey. In the Logan universe, the cure for the mutant gene was put into corn. Whiskey is primarily made from corn, so Logan was unknowingly drinking his healing factor away. So if he was in any other universe that didn't have the mutant cure put into the corn, or I don't know, just laid off the Jack Daniels for a bit, his
And drink some water, I guess? H2O.
healing factor would still be working and the adamantium wouldn't really be hurting him at all. What we need to do now then is find a way to turn off his healing factor. Yeah, maybe that's not that huge of a surprise. The biggest obstacle keeping us from killing this guy who can heal from basically any wound would be the fact that he can heal from basically any wound. I'm not gonna lie to you loyal theorists, this power is ridiculously cracked across all of Wolverine's appearances across all media. Even in the movies, he's survived being shot, stabbed, and even taking part of a nuclear explosion before picking himself and continuing on. His hair even grew back in that last one. Professor X would be so jealous. But despite all of that, this healing factor might not be as powerful as you've heard around the internet. See, something that I often see bandied about online here is that his healing factor is so powerful that he can regenerate from just a single drop of blood. But that isn't actually the case. While yes, that did happen in the comics, Wolverine was only able to make this happen because his powers had been souped up by a magic crystal at the time. Completely coming back from just a single cell is definitely not something that he's normally capable of, as proven many of the other times that Logan has died in the comics. A couple big examples I'm thinking of: in the Days of Future Past comic, a Sentinel was able to kill Wolverine with just an energy blast, while the Punisher killed Wolverine by electrocuting him to such an extreme degree that it destroyed most of his flesh. So, for us today, all of that is good news, and shows that Wolverine's healing factor can be overcome and he can be killed. In fact, the secret to beating this healing, it's way more common than you might think. You can literally go get some right now. It's just
I saw that.
water. The healing factor requires oxygen to work. In fact, one of the only times that Wolverine's son Daken, who also has a healing factor like Wolverine's, has died was the result of drowning. And believe it or not, but this actually has some backing in the real world. See, when a wound is healing in the real world, it requires oxygen to correctly regenerate. Our bodies need oxygen to produce high-energy phosphates that are vital for our cells to function, accelerate growth, and kill bad guy bacteria. And get this, basically the only major time that the 616 Prime Marvel Universe Wolverine died in the comics happened in a storyline called The Death of Wolverine. I mean, imagine that. And what happened here? Well, he was coated in molten adamantium, entombing him in a solid statue where he suffocated. His healing factor was weakened at this point, but even then, he died because of a lack of oxygen. But you don't need to coat Logan in some fictional metal to kill him with this. Honestly, any water should do the job just fine. See, the reason that drowning kills you is that it causes asphyxia. Your body isn't getting enough oxygen that it needs to function. That, in turn, leads to what's known as generalized hypoxia. Basically, your tissues are, again, not getting the oxygen they need to do what they do. After a while, this lack of oxygen to organs like the brain will cause you to black out, and then eventually will make your heart stop beating. All of this is then quickly followed by death. So, theoretically, to kill Wolverine, all you need to do is just toss him in the ocean, and depending on the Logan, he might sink like a stone. Yeah, funnily enough, here's where the huge disadvantage of that adamantium skeleton would be the downfall of Logan. It would make it hard for him to keep his head above water, literally. See, despite the comics showing us that Logan can swim, his increased density means that he would be unable to float. According to Marvel's official website, Logan weighs in at 195 pounds, with 105 pounds of adamantium on his skeleton, and because of that, Wolverine's density would be huge. To get an idea of what I'm talking about here, we threw the Wolverine model from Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 into a 3D modeling software, properly scaled it to his canon height of 5'3", and found that his density would be roughly 1,411.6 kilograms per meter cubed. Water.
What? Huge Jackman's height is significantly taller than 160 cm.
Has a density of roughly 1,000 kilograms per cubic meter. So Wolverine having a higher density than that, he literally can't float because he's too thick. Thick with 4 C's. But
What if he's taller?
of course, because we like to dot our I's and cross our T's here at Theorist, we had to do the same thing for Hugh Jackman's Wolverine, because notoriously, the huge jacked man is a full foot taller than his comic counterpart, standing at 6'3". Huh.
Taller than me. I'm 6'2". Wow. That's very tall, actually.
I wonder why they cast someone that tall.
You are a confident, powerful person, and 18 to 49-year-old women are super important demo for us, no cap.
Oh, yeah, okay, that checks out. Estimates put Jackman at roughly 200 pounds when he's in Wolverine shape, and because he's taller, he'd also have more skeleton, and would therefore need more adamantium to cover it. Doing some...
Okay, just a random fact. It is around the height of Mr. Beast, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, and he's taller than Ronaldo. Taller than me as well, so... I'm taller than Ronaldo. Okay, I'm the same height as Ronaldo.
Very rough back of the napkin math, we'd need about 125 pounds of the metal for the job. Using the Jackman Wolverine model from X-Men the official game, we found that this Wolverine would have a density of about 796 kilograms per cubic meter, which would be enough to float, funnily enough. Yet all you'd need to do is strap 83 more pounds of adamantium, or anything heavy really, to his foot and toss him in for Wolvie to sink and sleep with the fishes. But okay, I hear you asking, even still, once he's out of the water and back into oxygen, he should be fine, right? And that's fair to ask. Several comics have toyed with this over the years. In Wolverine Black, White, and Blood, he worries about drowning in the ocean, sinking to the bottom, and then getting trapped in a loop of drowning and reviving and drowning again. And in Wolverine number 19 from 2021, Logan tells a story about being trapped in a boat and drowning twice a day, only to revive once the tide is left. Honestly, that might be a fate even worse than death. Imagine...
Yeah, it's perpetual torture.
and water filling your lungs, your eyes bulging as you drown, only to awaken and do it again and again and again, over and over until the sun consumes the planet. That's not a good ending for Wolverine, but also not exactly what we're looking for. He's still technically alive here after all, or would he be? See, here's the real kicker. While Wolverine's there in the water, he shouldn't be reviving at all. Remember, his body should be unable to regenerate because it doesn't have access to the oxygen it needs to do so. His body should be acting like any normal human body underwater. And do you know what happens to human bodies that are dead? They decompose. Slowly, because he can't revive, Logan's body would start to wither away, consumed by the bacteria and scavengers and predators in the water. Over time, there's going to be less and less of his body left, and without his healing factor turned off because it has no access to oxygen, eventually, there's going to be nothing left. No cells left to regenerate, even if he somehow gets brought back up to the surface. Honestly, given everything we know about him, this is a perfect weakness for this character. His skeleton makes him significantly heavier, heavy things sink in water, and water turns off the power keeping him alive. It's dastardly, genius even. And incidentally, Magneto almost straight up killed Logan this exact way in the Days of Future Past movie when he threw him into the Potomac. All of these villains who have tried to kill Wolverine over the years with molten adamantium, or energy blasts, or tossing him into the sun, or poisoning his whiskey with a mutant cure, it didn't need to be that complicated. At the end of the day, all you really need to kill Wolverine is a bathtub and a barbell. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. And if you're looking to kill off more mutants, check out our video explaining how to kill off Magneto.
Well, thank you so much. Hope you enjoyed and I hope to see you in my next video. But hey, that's just a theory. A film theory. And cut. And I hope to see you all in my next video. Subscribe. Thank you so much. Thank you. I truly appreciate everyone's support. Thank you. Subscribe.